a bastard girl, tributed to a cursed Alpha King. All nine before her were killed. Only she can calm his rage as the crown wars with the Holy Court. An ancient heretic saint, awake and as inside her, who survives the game of gods and kings.
Must provide a sacrificial bride.
Father, you're not sending me, are you?
Of course not. So you chose me.
Your mother was labeled a witch. You are the jinx she left behind. Sending you to the palace is not sacrificed.
Penance for whose sins? Mine? Or yours? Everyone in the capital knows no woman survives a night in the king's chamber.
If your death buys this family the church's pardon, at least you'll be useful once.
And if I refuse?
Then you will burn at the stake, condemned as the daughter of a witch.
Name your choice, Alara. The stake or the king's bed?
They never care about my well-being. What they fear is me coming back alive.
Fine. I'll go. Remember this. Before sunrise, you'll be a corpse. If the cursed king truly is a monster, then tonight he is about to meet another creature. One who wants to live.
They push me into the room,
Where a sheet of parchment is already waiting on the table.
Sign it.
What is it?
The sacrificial bridal decree. From this night on, your life belongs to the crown and the church.
So you aren't even pretending anymore.
Your mother was a witch. Someone of your birth doesn't deserve a sacred marriage.
Hurry. The king hates waiting. My mother was not a witch.
Enough! What she was no longer matters.
Of course it doesn't matter. I'll sign. Then pray that I die in that palace.
What is that supposed to mean?
Because if I return alive, I'll make every one of you regret the day you sent me away. You won't survive the night. Just you wait.
The moment the carriage door slams shut, the bells begin to toll, like a funeral being rung in my name. And in that very moment, I make a vow. I will not die.
Near midnight, the carriage stops before the royal palace. Black spires cut into the night sky. The whole palace looks like a grave built to swallow the living.
Get down.
When I step down, several noble girls are already waiting before the gates.
I heard the last one they sent in was unrecognizable by dawn. Enough. I don't want to die. I'm afraid too, but I know fear is the most useless thing in a place like this.
Stand straight.
The woman speaking is the palace mistress who oversees the sacrificial brides.
From this moment on, no crying, no screaming, and no looking directly at the king. Whatever the king commands, you obey.
And if we refuse?
Then you will die miserably. Her words are devoid of any emotion, making the threat even more chilling.
Is the king truly as terrifying as the rumors claim?
Remember your name, Miss Ashcroft. By sunrise, no one else will remember you. She leads us through the corridors. The palace is unnervingly still, the flames barely flickering. At the end of the hall, I hear a woman cry out.
Who is that?
The first woman summoned tonight.
Everyone freezes, because what waits behind that door is no bedchamber. It is an execution ground.
Heads up. From now on, learn to wait for death in silence.
Just before the door shuts, a sharper scream tears through the hall. And in that moment, I know I may be next. That night, we are locked in the same room. No one dares sleep.
Will she come back? No woman who enters the king's chamber ever comes out alive.
Have you seen it yourselves? At dawn, the guards carry them out through the side gate, under white cloth. I sit curled in the corner, my heart sinking. They all fear the king, but I think the most terrifying thing in this palace is not him.
Up. All of you.
Is it our turn?
Only one was summoned tonight.
What happened to her?
No questions. It is none of your concern.
There is blood on her sleeve, bright and fresh. I don't want to die. Crying won't save you. They all look at me. I'm not even sure if I'm telling them or myself.
Listen well. His Majesty will summon no one else tonight.
I survived tonight, but I know it's only for now. Death could still find me. I do not sleep at all. If I remain here, I die sooner or later. So before dawn comes, I decide to run. If I don't leave now, I never will. I quietly push the door open. The guard outside is slumped against the wall, barely awake. Holding my breath, I slip into the corridor. The palace at night is cold as a crypt. I have no idea where the exit lies. I only know I need to get as far from that bed as possible. Left or right? As I hesitate, I hear a low, restrained growl. Like a beast. I follow the sound and stop before a black door. Chains wrap around it, and holy markings are carved across the wood.
Something behind it is breathing. This doesn't look like a way out.
In the next second, a much more terrifying growl slams from the other side, as if it is inviting me to step inside. I should turn and run, but my hand somehow reaches for the handle.
I've lost my mind. I must have.
The door is not locked. I push it open, and the cold smell of blood strikes me at once. Inside lies an underground sanctuary. Stone pillars, holy icons, candlelight, and a man bound in chains.
Oh my.
Chains bind his wrists, throat, and waist. His upper body is bare, and bleeding holy scars cut across his chest. His head hangs low, as if he is fighting something inside himself. The moment I step closer, he snaps his head up. His eyes are bloodshot and terrifying.
Get out!
He jerks once, and the chains snap taut with a shriek. In that instant, a realization dawns on me. This is not a cell, and the one chained here is no prisoner. He is the king, cursed by holy punishment. The king stares at me as though he could tear me apart in the next breath. But I do not leave.
Do you hear me?
I do. But you look in pain.
Shut up!
He jerks against the chains again, blood spilling from his wrists and chest. What keeps me rooted there is not the blood, it is his eyes. There is more than madness in them. There is pain. If you truly wanted me dead, yet beneath my hand, that frantic man calms down. Before I can pull back, he seizes my wrist.
You...
Don't go.
This time, his voice does not sound like a command. It sounds like a plea. Weren't you trying to kill me a moment ago?
I couldn't help myself.
And now?
I feel better. Don't leave.
The red has not fully faded from his eyes, but he does not lunge at me again. You're hurting me.
Sorry.
I am surprised. The monster who kills women in his bed has just apologized to me. What kind of curse are you carrying?
It is not for you to know.
But you stopped.
Because of you.
In the next instant, he drags me into his arms. I crash against his burning chest. He holds me like his life depends on it.
Don't move.
I try to pull away, but I can't. He buries his face against my neck. And little by little, his breathing steadies. He is like a wounded beast. One that has finally found somewhere to rest. I've planned to escape. Yet somehow, I fall asleep in that man's arms. When I wake again, morning has come. The underground sanctuary is eerily still. I lift my head and freeze at once. The chains are still there, but the frantic creature from last night is gone. In its place is a striking man, one who is also dangerous. Oh no. I have spent the entire night pressed against him. No. I have to go. The instant I try to rise, his arms tighten around me. But just as I reach the last stone step, I hear chains rattle violently behind me.
He is awake.
Well, I've messed with someone I never should have. Dawn is only breaking when I make it back to the women's quarters. No one notices I was gone, but I feel so flustered that I break into a cold sweat.
Calm down, Alara. Calm down.
Up, all of you.
What's wrong?
His Majesty commands that all sacrificial brides report to the front hall at once.
Every face in the room turns pale, and I know better than any of them that this has everything to do with last night. Then steady footsteps echoes through the chamber. It is not the king. It is Sir Lucian, his most trusted Black Knight commander.
Heads up.
He studies every girl in turn, and finally stops before me.
In moments, I am left alone in the hall. Sweat gathers in my palms. I know I can't keep the secret I wanted to hide anymore.
His Majesty will see you now.
The man who held me all night, the one I ran away from, summons me. As I follow Lucian down the corridor, my palms start to sweat. I know the secret of last night can no longer be hidden.
Go in.
The door shuts behind me. The chamber is dim. At the far end, a man sits in a high-backed chair. He is dressed in black royal robes, looking perfectly fine.
Look at me.
I slowly raise my head.
I remember your scent.
And what of it?
It was you.
I do not admit it, but he is already standing in front of me.
Stay.
This time I know he has set his sights on me. The doors are shut. There is nowhere for me to retreat. As Cassian moves closer, I barely dare breathe. Your Majesty, you've already seen me. May I leave now?
No.
Why?
You calmed me last night. Only you can.
I don't understand.
You do.
He lifts a hand, his fingers brushing my chin. Let go of me.
You touched my face last night. You held me.
It was you who held me. The moment the words leave my mouth, I go rigid.
So you admit it at last.
I was trying to stay alive.
Then stay with me.
Why should I trust you?
You survived last night. That makes you more dangerous to me than anyone else.
He suddenly leans in, his breath touching my face.
And now,
His mouth crashes down on mine. The king, who brings death to every woman near him, is kissing me. I should push him away, but Cassius' kiss is fierce. It feels less like a kiss and more like he is trying to devour me.
don't pull away.
You're insane.
I've been insane for years.
He kisses me again, deeper and harder than before. I should be scared, but my body goes limp before I can resist.
You were bold enough to touch me last night.
That was because you looked like you were dying.
And now?
Now you're dangerous. Cassian! It is the first time I say his name.
Say my name again.
Put me down. His hand slides to my waist and suddenly stops. I notice the holy scars across his chest begin to split open. Your wounds. When he lifts his head, his eyes darken. The curse has returned. The man who kissed me breathless a moment ago changes in an instant. His breathing turns rougher, and his gaze turns terrifying. Cassian?
Get back.
You're bleeding.
I said, get back!
He sweeps the candelabrum off the table, and fire bursts across the floor. I try to jump down, but he catches my ankle and drags me back. Let go! He yanks me into him. Just like last night, he is out of control again.
Don't push me.
I did nothing wrong. And then the next second, he bites down hard on my mouth. He is kissing me so hard I can barely breathe.
When I realize he's lost it, I act on instinct and slap him. The room falls into dead silence. Even I can't believe I just struck a king.
Get out.
But the first thing waiting for me is not concern. It is mockery. She came back. How is that possible? Why is she still alive? Looks like the king didn't even want to touch her. Makes sense. Who would want a bastard like her? Are you finished? How dare you speak to me like that? Watch your words. At least I came back alive. Their faces change all at once. Don't get smug. Next time you'll die all the same. Let's wait and see. I have barely sat down when the door opens again.
Alora Ashcroft,
What now?
His Majesty summons you.
What? The room erupts in disbelief. I freeze, because I know better than any of them that the king almost lost control and killed me, and now he had called for me again.
Come with me, now.
Thought I had escaped danger. It turns out this is only the beginning. This time, the mistress takes me deeper into the palace. Not to the front hall, and not to an ordinary chamber, but into the part of the palace meant for the king alone. Where exactly are you taking me?
Be quiet and keep walking.
When the doors at the end of the hall open, the smell of blood rushes straight at me. The next moment, I see Cassian. He stands by the window, robes half open, blood on his hands and across one shoulder. Are you hurt? The moment the words leave me, even I'm startled.
Insolence!
Leave us.
After the mistress withdraws, only he and I remain.
It isn't mine. What is it? Not afraid of me anymore?
I am. It's just that you seem to have no intention of killing me tonight. He looks up at me, and for the briefest instant there is amusement in his eyes.
You've grown bolder.
Perhaps because you almost killed me once. He walks towards me. This time he does not touch me. Yet there's something terrifying about his presence.
Good. I prefer people who don't shatter so easily.
I know. He did not summon me tonight, merely to compliment me. The room is so quiet that only the crackling fire can be heard. Cassian has changed out of the blood-stained robes.
Last night you touched me,
I know.
and you did not die.
Yes.
So I am offering you an opportunity.
The air seems to freeze. Caspius stares at me, his gaze darkening.
Do you know whom you are refusing?
I do. A king who believes everything should belong to him. He closes the distance in a single stride.
I'm giving you 3 days to think it over. In 3 days you had better give me an answer I like.
And if I still refuse?
Then I will take what I want myself.
He intends to keep me here until I give in. Unfortunately for him, I will not surrender. When I am sent back to the quarters, the marks of Cassius's fingers are still on my throat. In the next second, several women throw themselves at me and pin me down. Let go! The king doesn't kill you and now you think you are special? Do you know what I hate most about you? You hate that I'm still alive. Exactly. She raises her hand with a vicious smile. Then let me remind you how bastards are meant to live. On their knees. Her hand is about to strike, but then a violent crash sounds outside the door. Someone has forced the door open. The crash freezes everyone in place. Lying on the floor, I manage to lift my head. The man standing in the doorway is Cassian. He is dressed in black, his expression dark and terrifying to everyone in the room. He looks ready to kill someone right then and there.
Who touched her?
No one dares speak. Your Majesty.
I asked who touched her.
His voice is not loud, but it sends shivers down everyone's spine. The hands pinning me down let go. I have barely regained my foot as Cassian is already before me. He sees the marks on my throat, then my rumpled clothes, and his gaze grows even colder.
Who touched you?
Can't you guess? He doesn't answer. He simply yanks me straight into his arms. The room falls deathly silent. Your Majesty, she's only a...
Silence.
Rosaline's face goes pale.
From this moment on, she is under my protection.
My heart jolts hard, because that does not sound like protection. It sounds like a claim.
Come with me.
I thought the king was only interested in me. Now I understand. He intends to drag me into his world. As Cassian leads me out of that room, everyone stares at me. Rosaline's gaze holds nothing but malice. Your Majesty, she's only a bastard!
Did I permit you to speak?
Rosalie's face goes pale and falls silent at once. Cassian's arm is still around my waist. It seems he wants everyone in the room to see it.
You can let go of me now.
No,
You already got me out of there.
I'm not saving you.
Then what are you doing?
From today on, anyone who comes for you will pay for it.
Why do you decide things for me?
The moment you walked out of my chamber alive, this ceased to concern only you.
This isn't a whim. He has truly marked me as his possession. This only makes it harder for me to survive here.
Then learn to survive at my side.
I lift my head and meet Rosaline's eyes, burning with hatred. I know that from this day forward, she'll hate me even more. The next day, the court holds a banquet of penance. Officially, it honors the church. In truth, it is to show the nobles where the king stands. And I'm seated at his side. Must I really sit here?
You had no trouble speaking your mind last night.
That doesn't mean I want everyone staring at me.
Let them stare.
Soon I see my father, my stepmother, and Rosaline. When they enter the hall, they clearly didn't expect to see me there.
Elora?
That's impossible! Why is she sitting there?
Elora, come here. Let me have a good look at you.
You must have mistaken me for someone else. You didn't treat me like family when you signed me into a sacrificial decree. Do you truly think you belong in a place like this? At least I didn't send someone else to die for me. Rosaline's expression twists at once.
She now stands under my protection.
The entire hall goes quiet. Then a voice rings out from the entrance.
Envoys of the Holy Church arrive.
The moment the church envoys enter, the great hall falls silent. Everyone knows they didn't come to observe. They came to decide who should live and who should die.
Your Majesty. Your Grace.
Both men are perfectly polite, but that politeness feels worse than open hostility.
So this is the girl who survived the holy marriage night.
I have a name.
Your name is irrelevant. What matters is why you're still alive.
Perhaps God failed once at last. Someone lets out a gasp of shock.
Holy punishment does not err.
Then perhaps what you call holy punishment was never God's doing to begin with. Malrek studies me with scrutiny.
The church will take her for further investigation.
My heart drops.
I do not permit it.
Does your Majesty mean to shelter a heretic?
I just don't like it when people take someone that's under my protection.
If she is a heretic,
Then she remains mine to judge.
The hall falls into stunned silence. Cassius, at last, I understand. The church isn't merely suspicious of me.
His Majesty had no intention of asking for your opinion.
She opens the door to an extravagant room, then let them have it. The mistress leaves with a hard stare. At last, I'm alone. I go to the window and can see the high tower where the king lives from here. As I think about how to leave, footsteps sound outside. In the next second, the door opens. Caspian enters.